One of the UK's largest success area entrepreneurs has started up a destructive assault on Brexit, marking it galaxy scope folly. He warns EU departure will do vast damage to Britain's area production. The UK will lose in area, he says. The UK area agent, answered by Proverb Household Business Community, had a favourable worldview. The largest ladder examination of trust through the segment found how 3/4 of organizations anticipated increase above the following 3-year, it added. Position Brexit, no CEO would place a area business in the UK, he argues. Reason, put your Europe basis external the solitary marketplace of the greatest trade unit in the planet. Or potential out of accessing to the major by the government programs. Business following business will escape it, he adds. Dr. Marshall holds special contempt for the UK by the government's actions on Galileo, the EU release of the World Positioning Framework, GPS. Ministers include solve to go off of the draft since Brussels says annexed Britain, as a tertiary nation external the EU, cannot be implicated in the framework's largest safe beginnings, in spite the UK possessing already nested pound in Galileo. London says it will construct its own SAT-NAV framework instead of, but Dr. Marshall telephone call the a cake in the heaven schedule how has considerable economical and safety implications. The expenses would midget the whole UK area budgeting, he writes, and all for a excess framework how is potential year over and other level to how of its shut allies. Dr. Marshall's company is located in California, in a Europe basis in Germany. Based on in Robbie Skingler and Chris Boschueisen in 2010, Earth has led a coup in land surveillance house relying on the use of cheap cost, shoebox-sized satellites. Europe as a entire is raced to capture up, though the UK, it has to be told, has been superior located rather than largest. Companies love Surrey Sputnik Technique Limited pioneered the use of business away the shelf parts to bring the price of space vehicle manufacture, and Clyde area of Glasgow is now one of the come-to producers of the kind of satellites utilized by Earth. But the ex-Oxford and Leicester physic trouble how his household nation is hauling by itself out of a area ecological system in that it has be embedded and on that so lot of its ability depends. The UK puts on 3/4 of its civilian area budgeting via the Europe Area Agent, ESA, and has been a considerable gamer in the EU's increasing area activities, not fair in Galileo but in Brussels some big draft, the Copernicus/Sentinel Land Surveillance Framework. ESA is a individual legislative essence to the EU and ministers say Britain will remain in it though as the nation foliage the broad association. Lot commentators trust the increasing impact of Brussels during ESA is guideline to stress, and how the anxiety will just increase while a big agent term state love Britain exits the EU. Dr. Marshall shares the anxiety and warns the UK's vote during ESA will be reduced as a outcome. Moreover, in conversations in elder officials at the UK by the government for my latter travel down there, it became appallingly precise how area is an afterthought to the greater policy issues of Brexit. Down there is no schedule to alleviate these impacts, he writes. The found how 73% of organizations anticipated revenue to increase above the following 3-year and 48% of those anticipated how increase to be more than rather than 10% high rather than in the early 3-year. We include an great path recording of work close in the segment to driving increase, build jobs and cooperate in partners in Europe and the otherwise of the planet though will go on one day we keep the EU. We are devoted to shut world partnerships on area and scientific programs, and will stay a guideline term of the Europe Area Agent, that is freelance of the EU. Recent 1 week, OneWeb, and World Begin Up How has selected to basis by itself in London, start up the at first 6 satellites in which it hopes will be a close 2,000 spacecraft star constellation to supply web wideband to each angle of the ball.